One of the things I wanted to ask you was, first of all, your hat.
Yeah.
The future of horror is Black and indigenous. Explain that. Tell, how so?
Well, I think that both Black diaspora and indigenous, referring to, yes, North American indigenous, but South and across continents, I think our horror just hits different, for different reasons. And a lot of the storytelling that we've seen that involves either Black folks or indigenous folks has been at our detriment. We are these silly, foolish, characters on screen, or we're the magical Indian. Even recently, I hate to point fingers, but what was it called? Antlers.
Oh.
And that had a native consultant, but then the studio kind of cut a lot of stuff out. So we had Grant Green being kind of this magical Indian that helps the white tweaker family escape a W creature.
With his one line. He had one line.
Yeah. He showed the book.
Yeah.
Here it is. Let me explain it. Here's how you defeat it. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. It's I think with a lot of entertainment, especially screen entertainment, throughout the years, we've always been whitewashed. Our material has always been whitewashed to make it more Eurocentric. And even the subject matter, they try to interpret our mythology into something they can understand. Like there's in our culture, there's no werewolves. Well, a derivative of it. There's something else to us, but there's no vampires.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that. And I think, bringing all those European mind frame creatures into our traditions, it's like it doesn't fit. It's like oil and water, because our stuff is a lot more scary because, number one, we have a relationship with it because it's from this land.
Yep.
So I think that that looking forward into film and into books and graphic novels and whatnot, even music, right? It has to change. Like something has to change because no one's ever seen the stuff we do.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty interesting. I mean, a lot of it is whitewashed. And then, how much creative control do we have? I think that's a big question, whether it's a movie, a book, a short story.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us are gaining the creative control now because, not everyone is, the evil white man billionaire trying to control everything. There are some people that are coming around being more of allies, listening to us.
Yeah.
And trying at least their best to their knowledge of helping us get our story done better. That's why it's kind of hashtag own voices thing the last 10 years has been pretty good.
What got you into doing this book, Never Whistle It Back? Man, that thing took off like a firecracker, man.
Yeah, it did. What got us into it is really just kind of this magic happening on Twitter. Someone tweeted randomly, there's an indigenous book reviewer, now an author. They said, hey, when are we going to get a native, horror anthology? And they kind of made the rounds, and Ted Van Alst, he's my friend and co-editor at Whistle at Night, he already had the idea, maybe, I think he said since 2015 or so, because, that type of book didn't really exist, at least at the level that we were trying to go up for, the Big Five. And just these magical things came together where at the same time I got COVID, the original strain, and I was on oxygen machines for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I kind of, felt closest to death, I guess. And then after that, I kind of got this kind of PF attitude to stop being timid and shy and approach people and say, the worst thing that people can say is no to you. So during December 2020 is I reached out to, Tommy Orange, Rebecca Lonsworth, and Sheree Demon, and all these writers to be a part of this project. And they all said yes. And I kept building and building, and then just kind of got out of hand in a cool way.
And now, God, you're on book number 2. What's the title of that?
Yeah, so Never Whistle at Night Part 2, Back for Blood. We titled it. We titled it that way because the first one was a little softer on the horror, in like the Western lens, even though a lot of it's horrific to us as indigenous folks. But we wanted to kind of come back harder because we kind of always fear the sophomore slump, the second thing of what you release. Yeah. You don't want it to do worse, So we wanted to kind of put the pedal to the metal. So we had more creatures, more buckets of blood on the ground, and just kind of more unnerving stories, in my opinion, compared to the first.
That's cool, man, to have. I mean, it's, like you said, sophomoric, but at the same time, you got to go bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you tantalize the palette the first time, the second time, then you got to just like, bam, here, okay, now the gloves are off.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I thought about that after I did the smudging, and like my next film was The Party's Downstairs, and that was just kind of a short in what our friend Johnny J affectionately calls the smudging verse. So that's one of the stories. But I think for my sophomoric attempt was First Voice. And it just kind of, like Never Whistle at Night. Did you ever expect your book to just blow up like that? Yeah.
Not at all.
I when I did the film, I was like, I'm just doing this to keep busy, to keep from turning into Jack Torrance in my house.
Yeah.
And here it's won 16 awards, including a Film of the Year award. And amazing. I got my first Best Actor award, and it's like, it's one of those unexpected things. And it kind of, I'm willing to bet that when you started getting the first reviews in, you're like, the first thing you probably thought was, I got to do another one. Or did that take time?
Well, to be honest, I'll be totally honest. Writing the proposal for the first one, I already envisioned a trilogy. So in my head, Never Whistle at Night, it sounds like an 80s, VHS tape on your shelf. And my vision was, 3 books in a case, like a trilogy edition that you could buy, all 3 in the future. And so, part 2 is out August 18th. But we already are working on number 3.
Nice.
So part 3 is already in the works, and we're fingers crossed for that one.
Dude, man. I can't wait. The first one, like I said earlier, it's like I have a thing with bugs, especially spiders, right? And I'm Navajo. We're not supposed to freak out about spiders, but and then I read the story of TikTok.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, and then last night too, just kind of when I first got into the first few pages of the story, I'm sitting there on my desk last night doing some work and felt, is a damn silverfish crawling up my arm.
Wow.
Oh my God. I like that. When people that have a bug phobia get a bug on them, we immediately turn into Kung Fu artists.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get that.
Yeah.
Get out.
And it was like, so yeah, man, that's cool to have that as an artist, to have that projection. Yeah. Because you already know what you want to do, and in your mind, it's already done. Like it's just getting there.
Yep.
You're already at point A, now you're getting to point C. And I always consider point B the transformational arc, because I bet that there's a lot that didn't make it into the book.
Oh, yeah.
And see, that's...
Got over 100 stories, and the first book had 26.
Wow. Oh, my God.
Second one, we had 154 stories come in, and we chose 21.
And these are all, like, 150 separate authors.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, the whole reason we kind of created this book was to get the native numbers up in publishing.
Yeah.
Because it depressed us in 2020 reading the statistics. Mm-hmm. And from, head editor all the way to the bottom writers, right? We made it less than 1%. So we had that little sign, less than 1%. So we were thinking, what if, you know, through this book, since half of the book is an open call, you know, what if we can make that 2%,
Yeah.
3% somehow? And I think, you know, we don't want to take too much credit, but we have seen kind of native horror and native dark fiction kind of exploding in the past, you know, 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Since we announced it. So it's been great to see.
That's good that the material's out there, because when we do this kind of storytelling, we do face a lot of adversity, because, like I said, industry standards are the Tom Cruise, the Mark Wahlberg. They got to be the hero. They have to be the one to save the natives. When
White savior.
Yeah, when a lot of these storylines, if you look at it, they're the ones that started it. It's like they went and kicked over the tombstone, and then now they're like, we need somebody indigenous to come and kill this monster. And it's like, well, bro, you did it. So that, you know, and it's funny. Like I heard the point made one time that that these things, these spirits, or entities, you know, non-native society calls monsters, demons and stuff, those are our gods, you know, right? Those are our spirits. And sometimes this monster that's after them for desecrating the burial ground, that's the guardian of the burial ground. And here they're like, oh, this creature needs to be destroyed. Let's go get you know, Zahn or Graham or, you know, Gene Braverock to come and fight this thing. And it's like, I want a storyline where someone says, man, look, I'm watching the game, you guys did that, so you deal with it. I think what's funny is all these movies that are native theme have some kind of indigenous subject matter. Is the go-to is always sage.
Yeah,
it's always sage, and they think that that's the holy water you need to fight the monster. Mm-hmm. But I always tell people that, you know, you can wave it all around, and you can take a Bible and do the same thing. But if you don't know the words in the Bible to accompany that, it doesn't work. It's just a book.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
So it's like there's a lot of our medicines that still are kept under wraps. Like when you were editing the book, did you ever ask any of the authors, like, well, did you ever think to yourself, like, can we talk about this? Like, is it cool to talk about this?
To be honest with that, we trusted the authors, all the writers, to, you know, every single writer is a singular writer. They don't represent an entire nation.
Yeah.
That goes for any artist that's native. You can't be Navajo or you're Cheyenne Arapaho. And yeah, you somewhat represent your nation, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't really speak for it. Because, you know, both of us know.
Yeah.
All of Navajo Nation or Indian Nation or Cheyenne Arapaho. A lot of people that disagree.
Yeah.
On everything.
Yes.
We love to argue, we love to gossip, right? So yeah.
And that's funny, because like when I write a screenplay, I get permission. My mentor looks it over and says yay or nay. One interesting fact, that when I was shooting the smudging, we had to get stunt sage. So we had to find a plant that looked like sage. Now we had the real deal at the beginning and at the end to, you know, clean up before and after. But it's cool that those medicines we still hold. You know, there can be parts where we have a film and it says missing reel, where you're doing the blessing part. All the ceremonies in this film were my idea.
Right.
And don't try it. But somehow my wife, she said to me, pretty soon there'll probably be some stupid TikTok challenge where people are going to try these things and then they're going to call you to come and fix it. So I was...
Probably. Well, yeah, I was talking to Johnny J about that not long ago. Last October, we were at Scream Diego, San Diego. The sage grenade got brought up. Because on one hand, you might upset some elders, and then on the other hand, most people probably freaking love it.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, you have to balance that, and that's why it's really cool that you got fake sage or, you know, replacement, because you didn't want to mess with the real medicine.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool to have like a flashbang grenade, but it's a sage. It's sage. You throw it in, whatever evil's in there or whatever, you throw it in there, and boom, and then here it gets smoked out. And I actually, kind of protect it, I patented it.
Really?
Yeah, I patented it, and I let any native filmmakers that want to use it, they can use it. But I patented all the names: Sage Bomb, Sage Grenade, Sage Explosive, Sage C4, Sage Syntax, all the names. But the funny part was when I submitted it to the patent office, they wrote back and said, we can't patent weapons or explosives, and I had to explain to them it's not. It's a traditional medicine. And they're like, oh, okay. So I got the patent number and everything. But so far I've had a couple filmmakers say, is it okay if I use sage grenades in my film? I was like, man, have at it. Have fun and just don't hurt yourself. You don't blow yourself up. But
that's awesome.
yeah, I wanted to do that. And I was questioned one time. Someone asked me, like, aren't you being selfish to patent it? I was like, well, at least I didn't like pick something universal like land back or I don't know more and try to market it. Yeah. I'm not trying to market this thing.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to pay me for it, I'll take it. Buy me a Coke Zero, and we're square.
Well, it's something you created, and that it's not like you're sending cease and desist letters to native filmmakers.
Yeah.
Maybe to non-natives folks, maybe kind of send them a little something like, hey, maybe don't use this.
Yeah. It would be nice. I'm not a gatekeeper by any means. I'd love to see our people, have ideas and nurture them and then flourish. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a couple of people that said that they can make a better film than this much. And I'm like, okay, go for it. And have fun doing it. Just don't hurt yourself. And the reactions are kind of like, huh? I expected you to get mad. It's like, why? You're creating. Maybe you would.
Yeah. There's just folks that want to get a rise out of you, a reaction. It's just like internet trolls and stuff.
Yeah, well, they can try. I grew up in East Oakland, so I got pretty thick skin.
There you go.
I've been overweight a lot of my life, so yeah, man, it's just I'm an armored onion. So, well, I appreciate talking with you, man, and I'm glad.
It's been great.
Thanks for meeting with me.
Yeah, of course.
And
Thanks for having me.
I look forward to seeing your next project, and
Likewise.
man, keep doing it. Man, I'm so happy. Maybe one day I'll get to direct one of the stories in the book. So.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
All right. Shane Hawk, man, I appreciate you, brother. Again. All right. Thank you.
See ya.